One of my first memories of being in the woods and being a steward of the forest is with my grandpa cutting down beetle kill trees in Granby. While the nature of the work was physically demanding, it didn't matter because I was where I loved with someone I loved to be with. And this only sparked a love that I could never shake and a respect for nature that I always see. I was intrigued when I was younger, and I want to carry these experiences to someday pass on to someone else. With this deep felt love and the opportunity to gain more knowledge about the forest preservation and game management industry, I would like to explore these professions because my grandpa and my father had showed me the correct ways to treat nature. And like they both said, it is here as long as we take care of it. And I feel like Genesis 1:26 gives a great outline by stating, "Then God said, let us make mankind in our image and our likeness, so that we may rule over the fish of the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all of the wild animals, and the creatures that move along the ground." When I was younger, I went on a camping trip with some family friends. During this camping trip, I witnessed their children litter, burn green vegetation, and remove bark from live trees, and their parents did nothing for punishment to show what they were doing was wrong. Though I was young, I could tell that there was a lack of respect for nature. It's not just the people who have raised me and ingrained into my head the importance of maintaining our forest and the things that live within it, but also Genesis 1:26 and God's calling to do so. In the month of October, I interviewed someone that I feel resembles Genesis 1:26 extremely well. He worked for the Division of Wildlife, also known as DOW, for a number of years. I wanted to gain as much knowledge about the topic as I could because I feel deeply of how important it is to maintain our animals in the forest, and I know Pete Dye, one of the superintendents of Ovation Plumbing, does as well. I spoke to Pete extensively about how he felt about the game management department as a whole, and also the reasons that he left. He gave me a lot of great information about the ins and outs of DOW and the jobs he had to do while he worked for them. He said it was extremely hard to get in the DOW management services, reason being, it's a big competition on who wants it most. Pete mentioned it takes a ton of volunteer work to even be considered for a government job, let alone a DOW officer. However, he has great memories of doing these volunteers' hours. Pete passionately said, "If you truly love being in the outdoors and you want to be a DOW officer, it's a commitment. It's not just something you have a casual interest in doing or a casual interest in the outdoors, but yet so much more." I asked him what the struggles of DOW were, and he said, honestly, the amount of money we as a division had to do the things that we needed to do every year, and honestly, it felt like we were short of money every year. Also, I feel a large part of that money was greatly wasted. However, it wasn't all bad. There was a lot of positives, and one being, of course, being outside, being with nature, and doing the things that not everybody has done. Such as wrestled herds of deers to tag and relocate the animals that weigh twice as much as you. But I can say I truly have. I enjoyed the conversation with Pete Dye, but now I wanted to dive in and get my hands dirty with one experience with someone who I felt works in the forest preservation industry every day, Kelly Googe. Miss Googe, husband and West Coast District Manager of Save-A-Tree, one of the largest tree and lawn grooming services in America, was a huge part of my capstone as a whole and very beneficial with all the things I wanted to gain. Again, I did the same in-depth conversation about what he liked and what he dislikes, the positives and negatives of working in the forest industry. He, like Pete Dye, gave me things that I have never questioned before about how important trees and the significance of them in Scripture, such as there are 36 trees mentioned in the whole Bible, and more than 4,526 trees mentioned in the first 56 verses of the Bible. After our meeting, to my surprise, he said maybe if you had some time, you could spend a day with me and you could fully grasp what it's like to work in the urban forest. So on January 26th, I arrived at 6:30 to one of Mr. Googe's Lakewood offices. I rode with him all day and got to see what a tree needs to survive in the urban forest and what the workers will do to preserve these trees. I learned that forest preservation, much like game management, requires a 4-year degree on how to read tree rings, rid of pests and diseases the tree might have, properly cut trees, and where to plant the trees to prevent mass forest fires, as well as needing to know every tree and its family in North America. Mr. Guge's company is devoted to the forest preservation industry, and all of his hardworking employees are. Mr. Guge's company is doing so well that John Elway and Pat Bolin are clients of his. So of course we stopped by and watched one of Mr. Guge's company, Mr. Guge's Mr. Guge's mini crews groom and trim their trees as well as take down the remaining Christmas lights. And to my shock, neither John Elway or Pat Bolin take down their own Christmas lights. What I did with Kelly Guge was extremely helpful for me because I could see what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do in the game management and forest management industry. So I did multiple hours of research, learning what I could do with the state to help as much as I could in the limited time I had. I found out that I could be a volunteer for the DOW department. The biggest problem, however, was that I had to take multiple classes that were all far distances to be certified in what I wanted to do so badly. This caused me to really think if it was all worth it, but then I remember Mr. Spector saying at the beginning of the year, Capstone will only be what you make of it. And I think I made the right decision when I drove to Greeley early one morning to get a class to be certified in the DOW department with live animals. The challenge was an impact could be made on people's lives, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a big impact on people's lives. And speaking with Lori Morgan, the Northeast District Manager of Colorado for DOW, I was invited to a gathering to potentially vote on all new laws and regulations of the 2021 hunting season. When I arrived, I was greeted by an older gentleman who questioned if I was lost. At that moment, I noticed these older gentlemen were dressed in their DOW attire with their names on the left sides of their shirts, and how they all ogled me as I stood there and said I was voting on the 2021 laws. I would say that 98% of all the people there were gentlemen 60 to 70 years of age, and to say the least, I felt like I didn't belong. We sat in a huge conference room with at least 30 desks in a circle so that we could all discuss the 2021 hunting laws. Jenna Sanchez, the Southwest District Manager of DOW, presented books with all the laws relating to everything hunting in Colorado. She said that every single law in the book would be debated for the next 4 hours, and we discussed 52 pages of laws and determined if they should be restricted, held to the same account, or abolished completely, as we created new laws that will forever be in the books until further debates. These laws established the 2021 big game catalog. Some of my favorite laws that I partook in debating in are new auction license, that a person can get this license and hunt in any unit in Colorado that they want to. However, these tags are highly expensive, running from $50,000 to $500,000 American dollars. The opportunity to draw is typically in April. However, there is a new secondary draw in July 7th, so if you didn't get your tag in April, you can shoot for another tag in July. Secondly, there is a newer law, I guess I should say, that scope muzzleloaders can not be used during muzzleloader season. And the reason why this is because muzzleloader season and bow hunting season overlaps, and so this gives an advantage to muzzleloaders that bow hunters don't have. Third, illuminated nocks for arrows are now legal to ensure the safety of the animal. They illuminate of the rear of the arrow and hopes in the assist of the recovery of the animal if it is not shot and recovered. Fourth, electronic calls for big game are illegal to ensure the safety of the animals and the hunters. Using a mouth read often requires skills, and electronic calls is perfect every single time. Fifth, the use of blinds or tree stands for a reserved hunting spot is illegal. This is debated for the safety of hunters and public land use. Multiple injuries were registered due to this because people would claim their spot of land on public land. Sixth, One cannot use a motor vehicle to guide animals. This is debated for the safety of animals and also the safety of the person. The reason why this was debated, obviously, is because in the past, multiple injuries have happened because people have been trampled to death. 7. Once an animal has been harvested, the 4/4 of the animal must be taken. This is debated because it's moral of what the animal is being intended to use for, meaning you have to take the backstrap, tenderloins, frontal breast, and some other part, rather that being the head, neck, or ribs. 8. Evidence of sex must be naturally attached for the determination by officers and meat processing plants. And lastly, I had the opportunity to create a new law. If people pull off big game off their land with a ranch license, that land is now open opportunity for public land use. The reason being is that people were holding trophy animals on their land, and so this kind of helps with the trophy animals going on private land. And I honestly couldn't have done this without Front Range Christian's speech program and learning how to debate properly with people, because obviously I didn't fit. I was with 60 to 70-year-old men, and I debated what I feel was pretty well, and then I got a law into the 2021 hunting books. Throughout my capstone experience, I have learned many things about the forest preservation and game management departments and what it's like to get into the field and employment, such as it takes a 4-year degree in both forest preservation and game management. In the forest preservation world, you learn how to cut trees, and also for some things you need to be certified with that 4-year degree. I also learned that the reintroduction of wolves by man doesn't, if it doesn't happen in Colorado, they will naturally appear because they follow elk herds. Didn't know that before, and I know that the wolf reintroduction by man is highly debated right now, but it doesn't really matter because they'll come naturally anyways. The largest impact for me mainly, though, was learning that the DOW department is actually 80% funded by all fall tags and hunting tags that are bought in the hunting seasons. That really blew my mind that DOW is not just from the federal government, that it's all tags. Just another reason I feel Genesis 26 displays we as humans are supposed to treat the land, and again by stating, then God said, let us make mankind in our image and our likeness, so that we may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all over the wild animals and the creatures that move along the grounds. Without these passionate men and women, we definitely wouldn't be watching elk herds in Estes Park on a cool afternoon, or reeling in that monster walleye out of Chatfield State Park, or even camping under the stars at Turquoise Lake. Through my capstone process, I have gained a deeper understanding of the things that God has called me to do and called others to do. And I hope I have showed you through my capstone experience why it is important to take care of our forest and the wildlife within them.